Hey everybody, I'm here to show you how to make a pom-pom. Depending on how long this video is, I'm also going to show you how to make tassels and fringe. So we'll see how long this is and maybe broke up into more than one video, but I believe I can get it all in here. Okay, I have one of these clover pom-pom makers. I think a lot of us have these, but if you don't, you can also use, I'm going to use this to-do list pad of paper, but like a narrow, you could use a box, you could use your telephone, you could use, I've used so many things to make them that, you know, anything kind of narrow, I would say no longer than 3 or 4 inches, you should be able to do. And I'll show you how to do both. But with the clover, as you can see, it opens up. And I'm using just some Hirschner's Worsted Antiquity yarn. And this color is Marigold. Okay, so what you do, you start out by holding those 2 pieces on the one side together. Hold that with your finger and start wrapping. Now, what you want to do is you want to fill up the whole section from this, but don't go over it, to this, and don't go over it, okay? So you're going to fill up this whole section just by wrapping it around. And it doesn't really matter, you know, how you, maybe flip it over, there we go. And then you just fill it in. And you want to make this kind of thick. And I'm not going to bore you sitting here wrapping, but I'll be back in a second to show you how much yarn I did. I'm going to say probably 45, 50 wraps on this. And I hope my hands run out. You just kind of wrap it around and go all the way down to the end here. And just fill this all in. And, you know, do it a few times all the way down. And like I said, you're going to wrap it around, you know, several times. I mean, you want to really fill that in, make it thick. Okay, I'll be back. I'm going to continue wrapping this until I think it's thick enough. I keep going out of camera, sorry. Till I think this is thick enough. You just keep going and going and going and going. And I'll be back and we'll do the other side. Okay, I think that's good enough. Can you guys see? It's pretty thick. Okay, then you're going to close that. All right, you're going to go, oh, you get all the way down to the end where this gap is here. If you guys can see, hold on one second, right there. You see that? Get your yarn there and then close it up. Okay, you're going to take yarn and put it through that slot right there, and then you're going to continue on the other side, and you're going to do the same thing. Okay, I'll be back once I got this side filled up. I hope this is showing up okay. Once I have, like I said, you go through this gap and then start on your other side. And I'll be back once I've got this filled up. Okay, now I got both sides filled up. I'm going to close it. Now, I always push this down through here. Now what you're going to do is, okay, hold that together and use this to cut so that there's nothing left. You know, you're not seeing any yarn in between. You're also going to cut those little ends that you put through the edge. Boy, I'm really going out of camera here. Okay, so you hold those down, take your scissors, and cut all the way around. Okay, don't forget to cut that little one that's in between there too. Okay, now the other side. Make sure you hold it together, because if you don't, you're going to lose strings. I've done it. Okay. So we're going to cut this all the way around. Like that. Okay, so it's cut. Oh, there's one. See, it's easy to do. Right here. Okay, so we're going to cut those all the way around so there's nothing left. Okay, now you're going to take a piece of yarn, a small piece, enough to, you know, tie, and you're going to go right in between that groove all the way around like that, and you're going to tie off. Now, I always tie 3 times. That's just my habit. And pull it tight. Okay. Here's 2. And here's 3. Okay. Then you're going to take that off. Take that off. And pop the device apart. And there you go. There's a pom-pom. And if you got some long pieces, you can just kind of trim them off. Here and there you might have a couple long pieces. But there's a really nice pom-pom that you can attach with that tie that you made. Now I'm going to show you how to make one with a pad of paper. I'm using a pad of paper, but you can use anything. You can use a box. You can use, like I said, your telephone, whatever. Same principle. Just going to wrap around and around and around and around. And around and around and around. And I'm going to do this a bunch of times and I'll be back. Okay. Cut it off there. Cut us another little piece. And this one's going to be a big pom-pom. Just kind of slide that underneath. Tie it real tight. Tie it 3 times. Flip it over. And you're going to have to do a lot of trimming on these ones. So I'm just going to start cutting. But if you don't have one of those pom-pom makers, it is possible to make a pom-pom. Like I said, this one you're going to have to do a lot of trimming. And I didn't do it tight enough. Okay. Now this one, like I said, it's very long. But it is a pom-pom. But what you're gonna do with this one is you're gonna trim it up massively. But it is possible to make a pom-pom without a pom-pom maker. This is the way my mama showed me. And you just kind of do one of these deals and start cutting. I'm wasting a lot of yarn here. I should have got a smaller thing to wrap it around. That was the closest thing to me, so I just grabbed it. And you're going to have to make some cuts to even it out and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I wasted a lot of yarn, but you get the gist. And then you're going to trim up the long pieces that are here and there. And there you go. There's another pom-pom, and you just made it with something narrow. I would say, you know, something like that wide. This was a little too wide for that project. Okay, let's move on. Let me get this stuff out of the way. Now I'm going to show you how to make a tassel. Now, I make a tassel with, this is a clover as well, with these, but let's change colors. Let's use orange. Oops. I got a lot of yarn over here because I'm making a tutorial for you guys, believe it or not. Okay, so to make a tassel, if you want a short tassel, you're going to go this way. If you want a longer tassel, you're going to go this way. But if you go with the longer tassel, it has this ridge here where you can fit your scissors through. If you go this way, you're going to have to cut in the center. So I'm just going to show you the long way. Just hold that on there, and wait a minute, let me pull this yarn out. Okay, and you're going to go like this. Depending on how big you want your tassel, we're just going to make a smaller one. Depending on how big you want your tassel, I always try to end at the same end that I started. Okay, now we're going to take a piece of string. I always go under here, kind of pull it up to the top, make my tie 3 times, of course. 2, 3. Okay, kind of bring that up to the top. You're going to take your scissors and you're going to go down that slot that I told you about there. Okay, now you got the beginnings of your tassel. Now you're going to need another piece of yarn. Move this out of the way. Okay, this is how I do it. Okay, so I loop the yarn, and I put the loop up here so it's obvious. Up at the top of, you know, where the tie is. And this I always leave shorter than this so I know which one it is. Hold that together and start going around and around and around and around and around. Okay, I get to the end. I put my end through that loop. Here's my little short piece. If you can see, I'm pulling the short piece, and you can tie it right there if you want to, give it extra stability. Okay, then I take a needle. Where's my needle? There it is. I take a needle and I take these ties, these end ties that we did here, and I take a needle. Of course. Hold on, let me get this. Okay. I take this end and I go right behind this and make it a part of, oh, okay, there you go. A part of that. Do the same thing with the other side. Okay. Alright, so I take that and I put it behind the tie around and I pull it through. It becomes a part of the tassel. Okay, so there's your tassel. Now we're going to trim the end. Try to get it as even as possible. Okay, there you go. There's your tassel. That's how I make my hippy dippy tassels. Alright, so we got pom-poms and tassels done. Now let's do some fringe. Now with the fringe, you have to have a project to put the fringe on, okay? So I'm making a shawl right now, and I'm just going to use it as an example of how to do the fringe. Now also too, if you don't have one of these, I use a book. You can use a book and just wrap it around, do the same process, tie it off, clip the bottom, wrap it around, same process, okay? Now I'm going to make some fringe. Fringe is super easy. I'll use this or the book, it doesn't matter. I'm making a shawl. This is, I haven't touched it in a few days, but this is the Bod Rock and Roll shawl. Okay, now this is the end. Like I said, I'm not done with it. I'm just using it for example. Okay, this is my starting chain here. And what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to just add some fringe here and there. I'll show you how to do it. And then you can put fringe on your projects too. Hold on one sec. Okay, we're back with the clover thing. But like I said, you could use a book. You could use anything. Alright, so let's see. I'll do it short ways to show you this. Okay, so you're going to do the same process. You're going to wrap it around and around and around and around and around till, you know, you get like, I always use 2 strands of yarn to make a tassel. Okay, so if you want, you can go along and count and see how many you're going to need, and then you'll know how many times to go around. I'm just using this for an example. I'm going to stop at the same part where I started. Okay, now with this one, I'm going to cut it in the middle. There we go. Okay, so we got our tassel strands. Now, how I go about this is, like I said, I generally use 2 strands. Kind of even them out the best you can. Loop them around a finger. Like that. I take my crochet hook and I put it through the stitch that I want it to be. I generally skip stitches. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have showed you what I'm doing. Okay, I grab the loops there. I pull it through the stitch. I grab the stitch and I pull that through the loops and tighten it up. And you see that's fringe. And you're going to trim it, of course. I'll do it a couple more times to show you. You grab 2. Even them out the best you can. Loop them around your finger. And I'm going to skip a couple stitches on this. Put your crochet hook through. Grab the loop. Pull it through your stitch. Wrap the rest of the tassel around, or the fringe, and pull it through. Tighten it down. And as you can see, we have fringe. I've spaced them out so you could see what it is it looks like. And if you, you'll see that there's a line in the front here. That's what's holding the tassel in. If you go the same direction every time, like I went from the back to the front, those are all gonna match all the way down. Okay, so let's do it one more time. Through the back. Let's grab 2 strands. Make them as even as possible. Grab that loop with your hook. Pull it through the stitch you want to connect it to. Wrap it around. Pull it through that again. And tighten it down. Pretty simple. Goes pretty quick. And then you just trim them up to however long you want them. But that's how I make fringe. Okay, so we've done pom-poms, tassels, and fringe. Here, I'll show you. Here's our tassel. Here's our pom-pom. And here's fringe. And those are the ways you can hippy-dippy stuff up. Now, there's other techniques that I hippy-dippy stuff up with, which I'll show you in a later video. But for right now, pom-poms, tassels, and fringe. Hope you guys could see everything as well as possible. And I'm trying out this tutorial thing, so we'll see how it works. All right, love you guys. Bye.